Okay, the next one we're going to cut is going to be the standing collar. This is the fold over piece, and we're gonna want to cut this one on the fold, and we want 2 of these. Cut 2 and 2 of these. Cut 2, and that's my fold. And I did add my seam, when I cut this guy out, I added the seam allowance to my paper piece. So we don't have to sweat that. And I added it to that paper piece too. Look, I become better. And then this guy. And you may want to use more pins. I know that I'm gonna try to burn through this stitching. But when you get to your actual fabric, like when I'm not just doing my muslin, it's called a muslin when you're doing a test run. When I get to my actual fabric, after I've designed it and tested it out, I will pin it much more and make sure that everything is spot on. Because that'll be the garment I'm going to wear. Oh my gosh, my scissors are awful. This would be where I would say, go get me a better pair of scissors. Get me a pair of scissors that say 2020. Aw, memories. Okay, and then this guy. Oh, we need 2 of these. Wadur. Get it together, Erin. Get it together. Two and 2, and then we will do our interfacing. I think I'm gonna have to go higher. Yep. Great. Okay, so then the interfacing piece on the fold. Lovely. And I'm just gonna buzz through this right now. And this guy on the fold. Boop. That's an interfaced piece. Wunderbar. Now we're going to tackle assembling the standing collar. It's 2 different pieces, so I'm going to take it in 2 different steps to assemble it. Durr. Okay, we're going to start with the fold over, the little wings of it. You will open up that wing part. Wrong side facing the table, because we're doing right sides together, and lay your right side onto right side, even that out. So step 1, you're going to stitch the wing first. You're going to come up just like we did on the other ones, come up a 1/2 inch because we need this little edge free, and you're going to stitch your 1/2 inch edge, attaching these 2 pieces together, just like, whoops, just like that. Again, you don't have to draw a line. I just want you to be able to see that. you will run these three edges, the edge of your fabric runs along the 1/2 inch mark. Do this step first. This has to be done before we tackle the base. Okay, I have just gone and stitched my 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm going to clip this now. You want to clip across your corner there. There's my stitching. I'm going to clip across the corner and then clip just a bit there and just a bit there. So when I poke that corner out, it's not all wadded up with fabric and it turns nicely, and we can iron a pretty little corner in there. Doing the same thing over there. And you may want, I've got a little bit of a curve there. You could do just a few little clips. You're clipping in to the seam, so when you turn it, there's some wiggle room. That's not much of an arch. You'll see it when I do that flat collar. Okay, so clip your corners, clip that little arch if you need to, and then you're going to turn this right side out. Poke your corner without busting the seam. Poke your little corners out and give it a good press so it's nice and flat. I'll finish turning this and I'll press it out nice and flat and show you how we attach the collar base. Okay, let's start assembling this baby. So I clipped those seams, went over to the iron and poked my little corners out and ironed that down really nice and flat. And I'll take this time, make sure you iron. For years I just felt like, that's a step I don't need to do, and it has made all the difference when I go in and iron my garments, because it shows me where I may be off on something. It keeps things nice and flat and smooth, so don't skip that step. Always go and iron, press your garment pieces out. All right, so I've got my nice little flap going. When I went over and ironed the flap part, I took the base part, that standing collar base part that has the interfacing on it, and I folded it up. I'm hoping you can see this. I folded it up about a 1/2 inch and I ironed it. You're going to iron the side that attaches to your collar, this bottom edge. Iron that bottom edge up. So this is the right side of my fabric. I've taken it and I've folded it up and ironed it down. This side right here is what is going to get attached to this. So we're going to set right side to right side. Bloop. And you want to even it out. I was eyeballing this, but what you can do is fold it in half. Doink. Put a pin right there at your halfway mark. Do the same exact thing for your fold over. Doing. And match your 2 pins. There we go, there we go. Take that one out. Put this one here. So match your center back, and then from that center back point, ooch along that edge like that. You may want to, okay, don't stitch yet, because then we're going to take that second part. What we're doing is we're sandwiching this fold over piece in between the mandarin collar base. So I know this is my right side. I'm going to set this all right on top of here. Match those edges. Do you see how I'm matching my edges there? I've got the fold over tucked inside. I'm going to pin along this upper part. You could do more pins if you want. I like to pin this way because as I'm stitching, I can pull the pins out as I go. I'm moving that center pin so I catch both layers of fabric all the way across. You're going to go on the machine and you are going to stitch. You're going to start right where that fold is, where you fold it up. So leave that open down here. Start where your fold is and stitch your 1/2 inch all the way across, because up on this edge you're catching your fold over. Whoop, that was messy. Your fold over in between, and stitch all the way to the bottom of that folded up piece. Boop. Go stitch that and come on back. Okay, I stitched that upper edge. This is the side that I drew the line on. Stitch that. Before I turn it right side out, these nice little curves that you made, you may have to pivot a little bit. You need to clip those in. So I'm just giving myself breathing space. See, if I clip it, then they have a place to go. Bloop, bloop, bloop. If you didn't do that and you tried to turn it, see how it folds over and makes it poopy? So clip those little edges. Oof. And then turn it right side out. Oh, pretty. Turn, 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 turn. And guess what I'm gonna have you do next? Iron it. Go iron that nice and pretty and flat so it stays put. So there we go. It's gorgeous, everybody, it's gorgeous. And that gets this piece to a point. Look how cool that will look. So I'm gonna iron down, iron down, iron down, and we'll have this little piece kind of sticking out more. See how that will stick out? And then I'll show you how you attach this to your neck edge, okay? Iron, don't skip that step. And now we are at one of my favorites, the standing collar. So we made it all nice and pretty and ironed it out, and we folded this 1/2 inch up, the side that has the interfacing, fold it up and iron it down, and we've got a little 1/2 inch poking out that way. You'll take your center of your collar, line it up with the center of your center back seam. Do not pin this flap. The flap that has been folded over, you're not pinning that. You're only pinning the back side of it. And pin that single layer. See how I'm kind of opening up that mandarin collar base, and move around that whole entire neck edge. Pin that guy down all the way to the end. All the way to the end. You'll tuck in your excess. You're gonna have excess here. You'll tuck that in and give me a stitch line along that. Then when you turn your collar up, you'll see how this encases your poopy seams. Okay, so move forward on that guy.